I mean, you don't eat breakfast with someone many, like every day, or at least have us see it very, in several episodes and not expect something like that to maybe happen.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, we had that episode where, yeah, they did say that they often have breakfast together, and it's like, oh, okay, that's a pretty intimate thing to do, right? Like, your first meal of the day, you're having it with somebody particular on a regular basis. Like, that's a really sweet thing to do. And I to be honest, I was a little surprised that they got divorced, but then you kind of do see how they're both very strong-headed people, and you could see how that could tear them apart. And also, too, like, if he was an admiral and an ambassador, she became a captain of a ship, like, how much time could they spend together? Like, you see how it could happen easily. But they don't hate each other, certainly. Like, they're a little awkward, but they don't hate each other, which is good. Yeah, so... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, she actually drives me crazy in this episode. I've got nothing against her. I really like her as a character. But in this particular episode, she drove me insane. Because I wasn't going to say this until we skip further ahead, because it's really ahead that I want to reference. But basically, when the whole Beverly questioning Picard and saying, oh, it's Irumodic syndrome, and oh, he's sort of getting old. She's saying that throughout the whole episode, right till the very end, when Data said, oh, so-and-so and so-and-so, and this is why, and she goes, I think you're right. It's literally at the very last second. It's like, oh, I hate you.
Yeah,
She's just been she was like the one who didn't believe him at all. There was no chance that, he could actually be telling the truth. She was like going down this whole vein of, no, it's definitely the illness, and, we're just taking him out for one more sort of adventure sort of thing, just humouring him right to the very end, where it's Data's like, no, this static walk shell, and, everything.
Like, I think...
Do you know what I mean, Rebecca?
Yeah.
She just...
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's another case of them not exactly writing her the greatest, because she has some really good episodes, and she has good points in some episodes, like there's good parts to her character in some other episodes, but sometimes it's just like...
Oh, I love her more than the first Doctor. The first Doctor, how mean she used to be to Daisy used to drive me crazy. I used to hate the way she just considered him like this machine, and so I much prefer to the first. Was it Dr. Chikant? No,
Dr. Pulaski.
Polanski. That's
you know what?
Second Doctor.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they brought her on the second season only because Gates McFadden left after the first season, and then she came back. I don't know. I have to say, I like Dr. Pulaski. I know that she's mean to Data. I get that. But
nobody's mean to Data.
How dare you? I mean, absolutely, she was written to be like a Dr. McCoy type character. She was definitely written to be more like Bones. I don't know. I liked Dr. Pulaski. I wish they would have kept her on for another season or two. But I certainly don't hate Dr. Crusher. I like Dr. Crusher, but I think it's absolutely a case of not writing women characters terribly well. Mm-hmm. I mean, we could have a whole podcast about how missed opportunities with people like Commander Shelby and Robin Leffler, played by Ashley Judd, and Deanna Troi, they never knew what to do with her. And Tasha Yar, only giving her the open hailing frequencies, even though she's the security chief. I mean, there's a lot.
Like, this episode, Tasha's character was really great, and she wasn't in it very much. But it's like, she did more in this one episode than she did in the whole first season. Right?
That's great.
Like, actually feel like, that she was in charge, like that she was actually somebody that had some sort of power, and that she could do something other than like, oh hey, here's a message.
Yeah, I know. it's definitely the case of not writing women characters great on this show. And, I mean, does it get better as the years go on? I think it does. I think DS9 is better, and I think Voyager is way better.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with any women characters in Picard. But, yeah, could it have been better? Sure. But, yeah. Definitely.
No, I think you're right. By the time Voyager came along, they got so much better, and Janeway is a fantastic character.
Oh.
She always reminds me. She always sounded to me like Katharine Hepburn.
Yeah.
Her voice.
Yeah.
Yes. She definitely had a Katharine Hepburn voice, and even her attitude of the way that she. And you think back from like the original series to Voyager, if you want to do like a huge jump like that. I mean, in the original series, there were no women in command. There were no women captains or admirals. And women always wore those teeny tiny skirts with like the boots. And yeah, I mean, it reflected the 60s and reflected still that idea of women couldn't be in charge. And, now here we are in Voyager, and we've got our first, female captain leading the series, and having her being tough, but also being vulnerable and feminine, and being able to be all of those things, but still be in command and strong. So, yeah, definitely room for improvement, but yeah, for sure. So, yeah, just to wrap up this scene, Picard goes to rest reluctantly, and Beverly is worried about his health, so are Geordi and Data. But then, Beverly's like, well, but he's Jean-Luc Picard, and if he wants to go on one last mission, then that's what we're going to do. And we jump back to the past. Picard still looking for Q, and he's like, starts yelling out, Q, where are you? What hell? Crew is like, this guy's bonkers. What the heck is that?
Like, how did he get this job?
Like, especially Tasha, she's just like, this guy's nuts. How is he in charge? Like, what's And then finally Picard is transported back to Q's court that we first saw in Farpoint Station, and now we're starting to tie things together. All those angry little people he's been seeing are from this court, and here's Q once again dressed as a judge in this court. His fabulous red robe.
I want to cosplay this.
It's not weird. It's one of the most iconic looks, I think, from Star Trek. I mean, anybody who wears that outfit, who knows Trek, know exactly who that is and what episode it's from.
You get flowing robes and gloves and a crazy hat, and you can just go around and like mess with people wearing Trek costumes.
Oh, absolutely! I think a Q cosplay is a lot of fun, and I think again very recognizable. And yeah, especially this particular outfit, he looks incredibly like flamboyant, which is great. And he's got those red gloves and that like fancy red necklace. I mean, like, what's not to love? He's got a floating chair. I mean, what's not to love about this outfit? It's great. So then in court, Q tells Picard he'll answer any 10 yes or no questions to help Picard get to where he's supposed to be at. And we get a little bit of back and forth there, and he does reveal that he is causing Picard to time jump, and that the spatial anomaly is absolutely linked to what's going on. He then says that humans have not progressed far enough for where they should be, and that it's time to end their trek through the stars. Very little corny.
Yeah, that was... Yeah.
It's a very Trek line. It's a very Star Trek line.
I quite liked it, though.
Yeah.
I've got to admit, I did quite like it.
I mean, I did too. I mean, it's a little corny, but it's very Star Trek, like to say stuff like that. It's time to end your trek through the stars. And
another thing that Q says, I think it's here. I'm pretty sure it's right here where he's doing this whole exposition, is that the humanity was always still on trial or whatever from the beginning.
Right.
Yeah.
And, it's like, I never thought about this before, but, like, rewatching some of these episodes, he said, like, it's the one where the girl is the Q, and she's, and she's like a...
Oh, yeah.
Like, she's like an honor student, and she comes to do
Yeah.
like an internship or whatever, and he was like, oh, humanity is still on trial. Like, he just says that, like, or, like that, something like that to him. And it's like, and that came back. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
He says it again. Because, it's like Picard kind of just almost eye rolls at him. Like, he has this look. It's so funny. Like, he has this look that he does where it's like, you're rolling your eyes in your head, aren't you?
I was also thinking how in this scene too is when he's telling Picard that, like, the continuum has been continuing to watch humankind, as you've said, and that basically he's like, instead of seeing that you have room to grow, like you've been like helping Data be more human, and you're worried about Commander Riker's career, and you're listening to Troy's psychobabble, like which shows us that he's been watching, like, basically he's been watching the whole time we've been watching. Like, he's like the audience just like us. And it's interesting how... Uh-huh.
No, I was just going to say, do you know my favourite line that Picard says to Q?
What's
is
that?
When it's the episode where Picard's been injured and he's between life and death. And
Okay.
do you know the episode I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And he's basically in the afterlife, as it were, and Q is there, and Q is sort of God, and Picard
when
just
they're in the like white room. Or
yes,
whatever,
when he's all dressed as white, and he said you're dead, and you sort of, and Picard goes, no, this isn't right. The universe isn't designed that badly.
How cool for Q to be God, right?
Hilarious. I was thinking, I never really thought, it's like somewhere subconsciously, it's like, oh yeah, Q's been watching, because that's what he does. But then you explaining it, that's what he's been doing, I just was imagining him, like, with his bucket of popcorn. Even though he doesn't need to eat, but just because that's, he's, like, compelled to do that.
Yeah. But even Data references it as well, doesn't he? He said he treats you like you're some sort of pet.
Yeah. Data does say that, and Picard's like, "Oh, gee, thanks."
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't mean it.
Yeah.
But do you know what my husband calls this episode? He calls it. He basically calls it Star Trek Christmas Carol. Because it sort of is, because like he comes out in his robe and he's like, boy, what day is it?
Right.
Christmas Day, sir.
Christmas Day, Governor. And then he's obviously reassessing and going through different parts, and he's being shown different parts of his life. So, yeah, I can see why he'd think that.
Christmas Carol. I mean, he's not wrong. So just to wrap up this scene here, Q basically says, you haven't progressed far enough. We thought maybe you could. And he says that Picard causes the destruction of humanity. He's done it before. He'll do it again, and he's doing it right now. And of course, Picard's like, "What is this double talk you're doing?" And Q's like, "You don't get it." And he's like, "But oh well, like it's gonna happen. So too bad for you," kind of a thing.
He's like, "LOL, you're just gonna keep doing the same thing."
LOL, you're screwed. So of course, Picard calls Red Alert. We do get that scene in the observation lounge we were talking about, Kat, where Data's like, "Oh, it's like a master and their beloved pet. That's how Q looks at you." And he's like, "Okay."
I mean,
so
at least he didn't say, "Oh, it's like somebody that kicks their dog."
True, there's that. They do arrive at the neutral zone. We kind of get that in all three. We get that in all three time zones now. Yes, they arrive at the neutral zone. In the future, they want to cross into the Devron system, so they ask Worf for help. And Worf is now the governor of like a colony, and he's no longer on the High Council. He was before.